Hi there, this is Paul Thompson from Spitfire Audio. I'm very excited today to be able to show you the Bernard Herrmann Composer Toolkit. This is an incredibly vivid and intense, exciting collection of recordings. It covers all kinds of things from slightly more standard orchestral instruments through to unusual combinations of orchestral instruments, some synths and some more esoteric instruments in there as well. This is definitely not a vintage sound source, so we're not looking at recreating the sound of movies from the 60s. What we're looking at is the inspiration of a giant of cinema. Bernard Herrmann's career started with Citizen Kane and finished with Taxi Driver, and he did a whole collection of Hitchcock movies in between. But not just that, he was also a very passionate advocate for new music, championing the careers of many composers who would never have been heard otherwise. What we've done here is we've taken his original scores from some of his key movies, and we've looked at the way that he tended to combine instruments, and we've used that as the inspiration for how we've recorded this collection of sounds. So I'm going to jump straight in. You'll see that there's among here we have all of our instrument combinations collected together here, and for each of these patches there are a collection of the most commonly used, or what we feel is the most immediately useful sounds. And then you can dive into the advanced folder, which we'll do in a minute, to see all of the articulations that have been recorded. So let's kick off with the studio orchestra. This is not a traditional full symphony orchestra. It's very definitely a recording studio orchestra, which we've put together, and we've got a little grab bag of some really cool stuff in here. So we'll start with the shorts. So you can hear you've got a great dynamic range, you've got a very vivid sound. And if I go through the individual mics, you'll see that what we've got is a really useful collection of microphones. This has been recorded not in the hall at Air Studios, but in Air 1, which is an amazingly good, intense sounding room. It's quite tight sound. And Simon Rhodes, who recorded this library, has set up a really interesting selection of microphones for us to use. So we have here C1 and C2. These are two close miking selections. And for some combinations of instruments, they'll be focused on either the different instruments or on the different areas of the room. And then we've got two different trees. We've got our outriggers, as usual, and our more ambient mics. So have a quick listen through. So you can hear there, that's the first close mic. Here's the second. Different instrument balances in there. Let's look at our first tree. And then let's look at our second tree. Let's look at our outriggers. And then finally our ambience. So you get the idea. There's a lot of variety in there for you to be able to combine your different mics to get an interesting and unique sound. Let's pop up the close mics, tree and outriggers, and let's check out these kind of general use writing patch. This really is the studio orchestra longs. And again down the bottom end. So that's a quick overview of that. We've got a whole selection of beautifully played and recorded chords. So you get the idea, and these are obviously all recorded in different keys. We've got a huge selection of effects. We've got strings only version of that, cluster swells, and chatter. Lots of different versions. And then if we just start our journey through the main sections of the library now. So high strings. I'm going to look at the first patch that you load up, and then I'm going to look at the extended version of that as well, just so you can get an idea of the breadth of sound within the library. But we'll just leave it with the tree that loads up by default. I'll give you a quick blast of this. Now you can see that you've got control over your dynamics and your vibrato here. We've got a release control, so you can set for a very short release. Very, very dead sound. Slightly longer release at the top end. And that's if you're playing with two-handed, it gives you a slightly better kind of blur between the notes. So it helps smooth things out a bit. For the most realistic sound, I would usually leave it in the middle. There's also an onboard reverb, which we're hearing at the moment. I'm just going to put the spiccato on. And if we turn the reverb all the way down to nothing, so you're literally just hearing the room. Nice and tight and dry. And then if we put it up to the top, you'll hear what this effect is. So it's not huge. It's kind of a good match for this kind of studio sound, this very focused and tight sound. So I like to leave it halfway, just on the default setting. And if we pop under the hood here with the spanner, you'll see that there's some extra functionality here, which is, very similar, but very familiar to you from our kind of symphonic range, our standard kind of UI there. So let's go back to the front page. So this is our spiccato. We've got our slightly longer shorts, which gives you a very useful sound as well. Pizzicatos. And then we've got col legno, our trems, our trills. So you can see we've got dynamic control over the crossfade. And that's, again, using your standard CC1, which is the mod wheel. I've got it set up on a slider here. And the minor trills as well, which are really nice. Again, dynamic. And then let's just jump into extended techniques and let's look at the high strings. Now you can see here we've got a whole collection of stuff. We've got consort techniques, decorative, long and short, and then before we even get into the octaves. So let's just check out very quickly a few of these. So let's check out the longs consort first of all. And you can hear independent control of dynamics and vibrato there, and again, very, very nice dynamic sound. Let's pop up the close mics. It's a nice, very tight, dry sound. If I pull the reverb that we've got on there all the way off, and let's just check out some of the shorts. So you can hear it's very tight. So let's pop that back on, like the sound with that on. Let's check out our consort blend. So this is half the section playing consort. And let's pop some other mics back in. So let's put, let's try our second tree, ambience and outriggers. So it's loading now. So that's a very beautiful sound. Going back to our spiccatos. And then you've got things like trems. Let's pop the close mic in so you can hear these nice and clearly. And then consort sol pont. So very nice, longs as well. So you get the idea. Now let's look at the decorative high strings. And again, we're just going and add extra bit of micage. So we've got our normal trems, which we heard before, trem sol pont. And then we've got major second trills. Let's turn this up a bit. We've got our major thirds. We've got our minor second and our minor third, and then our perfect fourth. So wide selection of stuff in there. Our long techniques, which contains flautandos, such a beautiful sound. We've got our long harmonics. And then we've got our, then we've got our sol ponts, sol tasto, which is a lovely, delicate, warm sound as well, and our standard longs. And then if we go to our short techniques, we have, let's put tree 2 up, spiccatos, slightly longer ones we heard before, longer still, brushed, cull leg, shorts, harmonics, pizzes, and bar top. So there's a huge amount of stuff in there. Really, really wide, diverse ranging library. Now, let's jump back to the main folder and let's check out some of our octaves. Okay, so we've got legato. So let's pop a couple of mics on there. And here we go. So that's a great sound. We've got our longs in octaves. Again, full control over your vibrato there. Consort, which is really lovely. Spics. A bit ham-fisted, sorry about that. Trems. And then major second trills. and minor second. So some great stuff in there. We've got our high strings half section. I'm not going to play literally every patch. I'm just going to start speeding up at this point, take you through slightly more quickly. So some cool stuff in there. Right, let's jump to the low strings. Okay. So, legato. Loading up. And here we go. So it's a beautiful sound. And let's jump to some shorts so you can hear. So I bunged in the second close mic. Let's switch trees. Put the ambience instead of the outriggers. So you can hear this variety and this kind of richness of sound that you can get from this. Pizzicatos, Collegs, Bartoks, Trems. So some great stuff in there. Let us jump through. Obviously with the low strings, you've got a ton of other stuff in the advanced folder as well. But let's jump through so that we show you the variety of sound that we've got here. So I'm going to put up the closes and let's go for the second tree. Okay, so low strings and horns. So this is a great sound. I'm going to turn off the close mics and you can hear it slightly more contextually with the ambience and outriggers. It sounds like this. And then muted. And you can hear that the horns themselves are muted there as well. Let's jump forward to our tremolo. Shorts. So again, this is curated sounds, remember, orchestrated in the same style as Bernard Herrmann's original orchestrations from many of his well-known movies. And combinations of articulations that he liked to use. And there we've got a slightly different balance because of the strings being Colleg as well. So just by way of contrast, let's check out the low strings and trombones. So again, really nice, useful. I'm just going to pull these close mics down a tiny bit. Just want them in there for that flavour. Okay, here we go. Great combi. Let's put those back up to the top. Straightforward longs. And then tremolos. Consord. Sulpont. And you'll hear that we've changed the trombones to be muted as well to kind of match in with the sulpont at that stage. Some really nice stuff there. And then our consord version. So, with sulpont as well. So that gives you a very quick overview of the strings section of the library and the combinations that you get within the strings. So let's jump forward now to woodwinds. Let's move through in an orderly fashion. Piccolo and flutes. And the straightforward longs. And you can hear there the vibrato and dynamics being controlled. And then let's flip forward to our concert flutes. Now, this is quite an interesting collection. So let's have a listen to our legato. And then we've got variety. We've got our longs, which you can hear in the legato patch. We've got flutters. Now you might think this sounds slightly thicker than the usual kind of flutes patch. And the reason for that is that it's 12 concert flutes. And then the upper mordant, major and minor, which are really quite useful sounds as well. And contrast that with our mixed flutes, and this is 4 C flutes, 4 alto flutes and 4 bass flutes. So a really nice combination, and a combination that you'll know from Herrmann scores. So if we check out the longs, and then obviously we've got our flutters. And then effects. And some cool stuff there. And all through there. And then we've got a whole selection of beautiful chords. And you can hear that within there's some motion, a little bit of orchestration to add colour and interest. So, flutes and clarinets. Let's pop in the close mics and the outriggers. So you get the idea, nice and dynamic. We've got octave versions. And non-vib as well within there. and then fabulous trills. Put that back up to the top. And with this, you know, you really get the sound of these instruments playing together. It's the kind of blend that happens while they're actually playing at the same time in the same room. Really does make a difference. With our low winds, check out this. And then again, similarly, we can put in our close and hear a bit more. Our staccatos. And then alternate version. And longs. Again from that same alternate. Motoring through the cor anglais. Clarinet and trumpet. Okay, switch trees. Oh, outriggers as well. Okay, check this out. Not necessarily an instrument combination that you would have thought of putting together. But sounds pretty cool. And then some chatter. Okay, so another slightly unusual instrument combi is the double reeds and the horns. And again, let's put up our close, just pull that down a bit just to give it a little bit of extra definition. Okay, so here's our longs. And this is a good example actually to show the close mics. So close 1 and then close 2 on its own. You're getting more of the horns in there. So quite an interesting combi. So if you wanted to take a tree as an example and you wanted to add a little bit more of that sound, or you can change the weighting of the instruments that way. If we just listen to the outriggers on their own. You get the idea. Lots and lots of variety of sound. So even within the same instrument combi group, you've still got a lot of ability to sculpt the sound and just sit it into for the application that you've got. So trumpet and xylophone, this is a pretty cool one. Our shorts. And we've got a couple of interesting options. Muted, octave, so, and then muted octaves. So again, just nice, interesting, useful combinations. Now, here's our horns patch. So this is one of my favorites. This is 8 horns. And having these in this lovely, drier acoustic of Air 1 sounds very nice, very punchy. So you get from a very soft choral sound and then we've got a nice crunchy sound there. And with our shorts, everything from a really delicate to full on. We've got a beautiful selection of chords because 8 horns, so. So some beautiful stuff in there. Our mid brass section. Front combi this time. Let's look at this. Okay, so longs. And then if we go for the shorts. So you get the idea, then some really cool stuff and some falls. So that's our mid brass. Now we've got trombones on their own. And again with our dynamic control. But also, and we can put in some extra flavour here. So you do get that intimate sound from the close mics. And you also get that lovely muted sound. And then the shorts. Muted. So some really cool stuff in there. Trombones and timpani. And let's put both of the close mics in. And ambience shorts. And longs. And this again dynamically controllable. So it's pretty cool. Harp and Celeste. So we've got two harp patches here. So we've got now here. Let's go to the short notes, and then listen to the long. We've got chords. Now with this, you can hear you've got control over the individual balance. So if we really want to get kind of slightly more harp heavy, we pull the Celeste down. And with our staccato-y sound, but we can conversely boost the Celeste. And then get the idea. So a lot of control there as well. Now with the vibraphone, we have, I'll show you the close mics first. Harp here, vibes here. And we've got these set up in such a way that you can isolate the vibraphone entirely. So when you hear the tree mic, there's a little touch of the vibraphone in the background, but most of the sound that you're getting is the harp. And the reason for that being that you can then isolate the vibraphone and apply different kind of effects to it. If we look at the bowed sound, put the ambience in as well. Nice sound. Shorts. A couple of different options. Chords. So some really lovely stuff in there, and you can hear the vibraphone ringing away. Okay, now instrument that you might associate with Bernard Herrmann, Ondes Martenot. So we've got a variety of different options here. Let's check out some of the alternatives. We've got the gong. Tutti. Wind. String. Shorts. And then some amazing effects. There's some really cool stuff in there. That's and again recorded, you know, really beautifully. So if we just go for the outriggers on their own, really hear that in the room. If we listen to the close mics, you've got that very dry as well. Now percussion, this is a grab bag of percussion all laid out on the keyboard, but all of these instruments are also separated out in the advanced folder. So you've got everything from your bass drum, and we've got two different tree mics again. So you're getting a different kind of effect. Let's turn the closes off. So you can hear. It's totally different when you move the mics away from the instrument. But we can put in a little bit of that bassier close mic as well. If we go through, you've got rolls, swells and things like that. Let's put both close mics in so we're hearing. So, a great little grab bag of stuff in there. Now, let's jump back here where we'll find the synth section. So, you'll recognise the interface here. Now, this gives you a wide variety of stuff. So, let's go through this. You've got the DI'd sound on its own. You've got the Marshall amp sound. You've got Hammond Leslie amp, which is a really nice timbre. And then we've got two different mixes. That's the first one, here's the second one. And then finally the room sound, which is really interesting as well. So it's a kind of interesting combination there. So you've got a ton of stuff in here. And this is... nice and easy to control using the ADSR here. So and then variety. You've got lots of kind of effects on board that you can go for. If we change that from the mix back to the DI. Again, so it's a huge amount of stuff that you can really kind of mess around with. And all of this stuff, vintage, programmed. So tons of great If we just listen to the DI'd version there. Some really cool sound in there. Nice sub bass here. And if we picked DI in the room, nice sound. Some cool stuff effects wise. So some great synths recorded through a variety of different miking options. The final instrument group is the timpani. We were so excited by the timps that we'd recorded during our main block of sessions that we actually went back in to record a whole load of extra stuff with the timps as well. So I'm going to talk you through what we've got. Let's switch the close mics on as well so you can hear nice and clearly. And we start with the soft stick hits. So it goes from super, super quiet right up to kind of full tilt. We've got our damped hits for those moments when you need a real accented thing. We've got rolls. As you can hear, you can control the dynamic with the mod wheel there. Now our hard stick hits. So really good for that kind of, but also for the kind of pulsy stuff. And then damped as well. So let's check out the mics on their own. So here's the first close mic. Now you can hear that this one is very much pointed at the higher timps. If we turn on the second close mic and play the same two notes, and you can hear that that one is directed at the lower end. This is the tree. Second tree. Outriggers. And ambience. So between all of those, you've got a great variety of sound in there. Let's keep looking through the sounds. So we've got a super tight damp. Really useful for those really hard accents. We've got our hard stick rolls. Very dynamic again, as you can hear. And some hot rod hits. And this, I love using this as a kind of pulse thing as well. Really useful. And then we've got the damped hot rods. So you get the idea. There's a ton of really good stuff in there. And with the mic selection that you've got a huge variety of sound. You can really bring it into focus and concentrate on the foreground of the timp sound, or you can really sit it back in the room and make it part of the kind of the full band, accenting all of those great hits down there. So that is a quick look through the Bernard Herrmann Composer Toolkit library. Tons and tons of really great material in here, recorded in a tight, dry acoustic that is a very, very fine room through a lot of amazing mics by Simon Rhodes. It's really is a wonderful sounding library. Hope you're going to enjoy using this, and really looking forward to seeing what you come up with. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.